It's finished. My Hummer H2 project is complete. Tons of work. I put so much time, so much money, so much effort into this thing because I wanted to make it my own. I wanted to have some fun with it. I can't always just be selling Ford Focuses all the time. So I'm going to give you a quick walk around of this truck now that it's finished. But before I do that, let me introduce myself. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels. If you don't already know that, I own a car dealership and I do lots of fun toy projects, car projects. So if you're not subscribing, make sure to subscribe down below. This has been a project for about a month because we have other things going on. So we were jumping back and forth while we weren't busy doing other things. This is my Hummer project. This is my new daily driver. This is my winter beater. This is gonna be my plow truck. I am so excited about this. Hey everyone in the YouTube world, it's Craig from Flying Wheels. Welcome to my Flying Wheels YouTube channel. You guys know the game. What am I driving today? If you've been watching my channel, you know what I'm driving. I can tell you a hint. It's right-hand drive. And what's weird about right-hand drive is the directional is on the right-hand side. So I have to use this hand put the directional on. So today is all about my Hummer H2. If you guys have been watching for a while, you know that Hummer H2. You know how much work I put into that Hummer H2. And this video is all about why I will never, ever buy a Hummer H2 ever again. I've always liked them. I always thought they were cool. I liked it in Bad Boys 2 when it smashed through all of Haiti or Cuba or wherever he was. Rugged. It's a military vehicle for family. It's freaking awesome. So there's a lot of things I love about my Hummer, but this video is why I don't like my Hummer and why I will never, ever buy one ever again after 4 months of ownership. So let's get going. So it is a rainy day, spring in New Hampshire. I bought this Hummer about 6 months ago. I like saying the word Hummer. That's part of the appeal to this thing. I get a kick out of it every time I say the word Hummer, but that's not why I won't ever buy one of these things again. I bought this Hummer 6 months ago because it is absolutely a luxury army tank. It is that. It is luxurious, it is comfortable, and it is durable. It's on a Chevy 2500, I should say that again. It's on a modified Chevy 2500 frame. So this thing is rugged. It will pull your house down if you wanted to. So the frame is identical to Chevy 2500, except the front is modified. So I couldn't fit the plow frame on. So, because I can't plow with it, it's useless to me. Now again, because it was for me, I didn't spare any expense. New starter, new alternator, new power steering box, new master cylinder, new brake lines. I POR'd the underneath. I did everything you could imagine to make this thing my own. I should have just flipped it, because when I bought this thing, it was the cheapest Hummer I had ever seen at auction, ever, and that was the appeal to this thing. I'm like, oh, all right, it's cheap, I'll buy it, and then I'll make it my own. So I had enough money, I had enough room in it to make it my own, to invest some money into it. So I'm gonna do it like for $4 grand more than what I paid for it. I paid like $6,800, so I'm into it for about $10,500 now, which isn't really a great deal on a Hummer anymore. Had I just done what needed to be done and flipped it, I would have made some cash on it. But it's a nice truck, and I wanted to make it better, and I wanted to make it my own, and it didn't work out that way for me. So first thing I'm gonna start with are these right here. These armrests come in the Escalades of this generation and the Hummers. These seats make me feel like I am the king of the castle. They're so comfortable. They're so comfortable. I could drive this thing across the country and be incredibly comfortable. It has heated seats. It has power seats. It has every option you could think of that you'd want in 03, 04, and it drives great. Now I know what you're gonna say, Craig, we already know what you're gonna say. Yes, it gets bad gas mileage. That's why you don't want it. Yeah. Well, it does. It gets 8 miles to the gallon. So every rumor you heard about these Hummers is true. It gets 8 miles to the gallon. So when I'm towing my boat, I can't even imagine what I'm getting for gas mileage. 2 hours up to the lake, 2 hours back from the lake with the kids, with the dog, with the family. It's going to be awful. That's why they stopped making Hummer during the gas crisis around 2007, 2008 when gas was $4 a gallon. But there's more than that, though. This thing is gigantic. Yeah, we know Hummers are gigantic. Yeah, no, it literally is gigantic, but not convenient. Look at how wide this thing is. I can't reach the other side. So when my stuff is on the other side of the truck, like if I put my briefcase in the passenger seat, I can't freaking reach it. I can't reach my stuff over here. I'm like fully extended over here to open a door for somebody or to grab something in the passenger seat or even in the back. is like difficult to get to, which looks like I'm overreacting. I'm not. It really is that difficult. Very stubby front end, but it's tall and still, even though I said stubby, still kind of long. So from the steering wheel all the way up to the front, it's like tough to gauge where you are, and it's wide. So it being so wide really takes some getting used to know your position on the road, know your position into a parking lot, etc. The front windshield is gigantic and tall and like really far away from me. So to adjust the mirror, this is me fully extended in my seat. Everything is big on it. Look at, even the shifter is huge, but I kind of like it. It's comfortable. My hand fits perfectly in place right here. If I put something in the dash and it slides all the way over, I can't reach it. It is extremely difficult because this truck is so wide. Now I say it's wide, it's not actually that big. So with my 3 kids in it, there's not that much space. To the back seats. So it's one bench seat, obviously separated with a center console. So if I want to put all 3 of my kids in it, they sit right next to each other and they freaking battle because they're elbow to elbow the whole time. Well, Craig, it has a 3rd row. Put them in the 3rd row. Sure. So what am I going to open the hatch every time they want to go into the 3rd row? The hatch isn't push button, and it's heavy. And what's strange is the spare tire came optional mounted inside or mounted on the hatch. So neither one is convenient because when it's in here, it takes up all your space. So you have your half a 3rd row and then no storage, or it's out here. And to use it, you actually had to swing it open and then lift the hatch. So it was a 2-step process to actually get into the rear. Now, what I'm talking about with my kids, what am I going to have? An 8-year-old climb in the back? Or are they going to go in this way, move this seat up, move this seat forward, and then climb in? Now, even still, with this bench seat or whatever, I mean, not bench seat, with this captain's chair for the 3rd row, look at, there's like no leg room. So here, obviously, the floor dips down so people have leg room. Here, your knees will be like up into your chin. Look at the leg room here. So this thing is stubby. There's very minimal space, and these seats aren't pushed back all the way. So the options are open the hatch so they can climb in and get into the 3rd row. Have an 8-year-old try to figure out how to lower that center seat and then raise it again so the 2nd and 3rd child can get in, or have them just stomp their feet over the leather and into the 3rd row, which if you have a child, you know that those shoes aren't clean. Then you know that the bottom of those shoes aren't clean. The other flaw of the 3rd row was you get the option. You either get a single 3rd row seat and a spare tire, or, well, actually you get 3 options. You get no 3rd row, you get a single 3rd row seat that fits one person, and then the spare tire next to them that takes up a ton of space, and then you get 2 options. You get a 3rd row that fits one person because it's half of a 3rd row, or you get no 3rd row. So there isn't actually a full 3rd row bench back there. So this thing at its max fits 6 people. There's 6 passengers that this gigantic school bus can fit. When the 3rd row is in there, there's minimal space. So you have half of a cargo section. So you can't really fit like a floor mat back there to keep the carpet safe. And when the 3rd row is up, you only have half of a cargo space. If you take the 3rd row out, you have some storage. Look how stubby the back is. There's almost no space for storage. But when the 3rd row is out, this thing's pretty tall, and it was marketed towards women. Little women usually, like my aunt had one in 2003, and she's 5 feet flat, so she's 5 feet. She couldn't reach into the back of this thing to get all of her groceries out of the back. She needed a step stool to get back there. Forget the vehicle. The vehicle isn't even why I will never buy a Hummer again. It's the people. Hummer people. The people that want a Hummer now. It's awful. It is the biggest headache. It's a bigger headache to sell a Hummer than it was to sell my Fiero. And if you saw my Fiero video, that was a pain in the butt. Here's why. Hummers used to have baller status. Rappers, athletes, rich people, famous people drove Hummers. When these things came out, they were a luxury monster truck, and the people with money that wanted to show off bought a Hummer. Well, now they're fairly affordable. They're like 8 to 15 grand. So anybody that wanted a baller status back then that couldn't afford it wants it now. well, they might not necessarily deserve baller status still, even though they want it. So the headache I'm getting is, first of all, the ridiculously low offers. Yeah. People, like, this is a 110,000 mile Hummer, and it's clean, and it's serviced, and it's inspected, and it's a detail, so it's a good Hummer. But the problem is, people see these Hummers, so I'm asking $13 for it, which is actually a really fair price. If you go on Car Gurus, it's like a great deal. They market it, and they tell you it's a great deal at $13,000 with 110,000 miles. But there are Hummers out there with 240,000 miles that you can find for $6-7 grand. So the people that see these, that look at this, call me and say, oh, I saw one for $6 grand on Craigslist. Well, freaking go buy that one. This isn't that one. So they'll compare this Hummer with 110,000 miles to the Hummer they saw on Facebook Marketplace with 220,000 miles and want it for the same price. So I'm constantly getting lowball offers, more than I've ever gotten on any other vehicle ever in my life. I'm getting lowball, frustrating offers on this Hummer from the people that think they should be able to deserve a $14,000 Hummer, a $13,000 Hummer for $6 grand. Let's talk about the realistic people, the people that will pay what I'm asking for it. They want it financed, and they all have the lowest of the low credit. I don't know what it is. I don't want to speak in generalizations. I'm not going to say anything about races because it has nothing to do with race. It's people of all nationalities with low credit apparently want to own a Hummer. So I'm getting, and I have to do applications. I have to do loan applications for every single one of these people. So they send me an email. First of all, it's a phone conversation. Then they send me an email. Then I do the loan application. Then I talk to the bank. Then the bank laughs at me. So then I have to be courteous back to the customer and say, I'm sorry, you had a repossession last week. No, you can't have this vehicle. It blows my mind. I have never seen so many people with repossessions think they deserve another car within a week or within a month more than people that want this car. It happened today. Somebody came, they forget. Mysteriously, people forget when applying for a loan that they've recently had a repo, but it happened to me today that someone came in, they said they will give me my asking price. I did the loan application, and then I found out they had a repo last week. Oh, you had a repossession last week. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, or I didn't think that would matter. If you couldn't afford your car a week ago, you can't afford your car today. Don't waste your time, don't waste my time applying for a Hummer. Hummer's probably not the most appropriate car for you anyway if you're getting repoed. Get a minivan. Get something cheap. Buy a cheap Toyota. Don't try to flaunt baller status when your car got repoed last week. The other problem with it is the people that want it on the other spectrum, the people that have some money that want a Hummer, want it to be perfect. So they're looking at a 2003 Hummer and want in New England and want it to be absolutely perfect. So they'll come out and look at it and tear the thing apart, nitpick everything you could imagine because they want a perfect Hummer. Show me a perfect Hummer and I'll marry her. Get it? We're doing the Hummer H2 right after that bumper's done. See, we already started it. Can't wait till that's done too. POR Hummer update. Look how good this undercarriage looks now. Hand laid on everything. Not done yet, obviously. The only people I can say that I've actually liked that have looked at this car are military people. So I've had a ton of people in the military that have called on it. And their expectations are realistic. Their budget's realistic. It's just one thing or another has fallen through. So this Hummer has been quite a pain in the butt. It's tied up money for like 6 months. Meanwhile, I've been using it and I've been enjoying it. So the previous owner made a third row, like custom made a full bench third row for this thing, which is pretty neat. But there's zero storage with the third row in there because the third row almost touches the hatch. So with the third row in, there's no storage. The thing's useless because it's so stubby. I will say something positive is maintenance. It's a Chevy truck. Parts are easily accessible everywhere. It's easy to work on and it's cheap to fix. Honestly, it just can't be my daily driver. I don't mind it putting my kids in it. I love that I can tow with it, but the gas mileage specifically, and I knew it gets bad gas mileage, I can't tow my boat at 6 miles per gallon when my other truck will do it at 14 miles per gallon. It's not worth the luxury, so to say. And the other thing is the technology. So this thing was awesome from 03 to 08, but now it's 2020 I mean, there's so much technology out there that this thing doesn't have. So I take back everything I said about Hummer people, because that man was an absolute delight. I showed up, he had money ready to pay, signed the documentation, very easy to work with, super smooth transaction, exactly how you would want an ideal situation to work out. The only thing that was a little scary coming to his house, but I had a driver behind me, so. All right, I can't take it anymore. If you guys are watching my channel, you already know what I'm driving. Take a guess if you haven't yet in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a 1992 Fairlady Nissan 300ZX. Original floor mats right there. Right-hand drive, directional on the right side of the car, in kilometers. But what's weird is cruise control is in English. On, off. I have a Japanese radio with a Japanese map. Nismo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nismo shifter, right-hand drive, original seats. Look at the, I don't even know what you call it, tweed? 2+2, yes, it's a 2+2, with T-tops. It's spring. I'm not quite ready to take the T-tops off yet, but T-tops with the T-top sunshade. All original, 115,000 kilometers, which is roughly 72,000 original miles. This thing is the balls, and what's cool about it, Japanese radar, Japanese GPS, Japanese, that's essentially a Kenwood CD player deck, but it speaks in Japanese, so I don't know how to use it. And it's on a different frequency, so I can't even pick up the original radio stations. But I love this car. It's been sitting in my garage all winter long. It's spring. I can finally use it. Here's my baby, my girl, my Z32. Fairlady Z32, which is also a Nissan 300ZX in the States. Come here, check these out right before I get onto the Hummer. I'm going to show you what I just recently picked up. 15 Silverado, right? Look at the inside of this thing. I'm sure there's a name that you guys all know what this interior is called, but I'm going to call it cowboy leather. Look how nice these high countries are. This is the Denali version of the Chevy Silverado. And what I just bought as a family rig. 15 Suburban on 22s, factory 22s. Look how nice these things are. I've already moved in. My stuff is already in here. Both are for sale if anybody's interested though.